Retro Hangover is supported via Patreon by listeners like you. We would especially like to thank patrons Lyle McCarnes, Tony G, Tom the Superhero, Studstill Smash the Milkman, Lucas from Game Over Hell, Mast Keaton, Ozzy Garcia, JC, Megan Caruso, Dave Jackson, Jenny E, Retro Overdrive, Soha, The Emperor, Storm Beagle, Matt aka Stormageddon, Van Fertile, and B. Ross from Super Garbage Day, Jared Brayland, Randall Quiggle, Raging Demon, Keith Gasper, The Retro Vixen, Eric Guess, Nomad from the Retro Wildlands Podcast, Ash Event, Alan Bingham, Mike the Ref from Backbreaker Gaming, Alt, Gary Heather, Low5 Alex, Oh Me, Makeshift Money, Segaboy 7, Riskel, and Adam R. Your continued engagement and generous donations are deeply appreciated.
Open your ears and crack some beers. You are listening to the most recent episode of Retro Hangover.
And hello, retro and classic gamers. Welcome to the podcast where we make merry mothers mate paternally motioning momentum mercilessly moaning. This is Retro Hangover. I am your co-host, Chris Copleen, with special guest, Sam the Storm Beagle from the Retrotopia podcast. And, as always, your host, Shane the Baby Dick Dragon! Salter!
I would like to point out an egregious missed opportunity in the alliterative intro. Should have had Melissa's mock mother Madeline.
You had the opportunity to insert that. I have no idea what that means.
There. Did you not play this game? You know what? Never mind. It's fine.
Oh, yes. Milton Bradley.
Nope.
No. That's what I think when I see those. Anyway, doesn't
I refuse. Megabytes.
Some mega bitten. So we'll talk about that. Welcome to the show, Sam. It's nice to have you here.
Trying to hold that in. That was surreal to be a part of that.
Most people say that while they awkwardly stare at me.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was not expecting the Dick Dragon to clip like that. So it was just it really looked like you were
Nobody ever does.
It looked like you were just experiencing pleasure, to be honest.
I am. I actually have two sets of pants. One I wear before the episode, and one I have to change into while I pretend to go pee in the middle of the episode.
Oh my
Where's my podcasting pants? Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
That's why everyone, like, my family wonders why I have a pair of white baseball pants now. Now the world knows.
They just stand on their own in the corner.
Yeah. They're a little yellow now. I should probably wash them.
You just go, all right, get out of here, and then they walk away.
They're
too stiff,
out.
man. They're too stiff. They need a chiropractor at this point.
They waddle away.
They crack. Man. All right. Well, welcome to the show. We are going to be talking about Metroid Other M. The amazing MILF-tastic game that it might be. Just talking about it makes me have emotions, which is probably something they tried to make people feel here, which we'll talk about whether or not they succeeded in that. But before we get into the game du jour, we'd like to talk about the games that we have been playing lately. So, Sam, you're our guest. As tradition would dictate, you get to talk about that first. What games have you been playing lately?
Neat. Well, I actually finished this game up to credits, which I guess we'll talk about later, but I went and completely finished the game. Not 100%, but finished the final bit there over the weekend. So I've been playing this. I've gotten back into Hollow Knight. I've been trying to finish it. That game is so tough. So every time I get to a boss, I'm like, is this going to be where I tap out? I'm not sure. That game is massive. So it's been an undertaking. I've been playing it all summer.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
I didn't know there's that involved.
That's kind of my game on the side. But yeah, the map is huge. And I'm also not very good at it. So I have to try hard. And then I guess coming up next for Retrotopia, I've started dabbling again into Duke Nukem 3D. That's our Patreon poll for boomer shooters, and kind of walked away with it. So Duke Nukem 3D, it's aged like a fine wine,
like a fine wine with vinegar. I'm sure. We talked about that game. I think we actually said favorable things. I keep on. Anyway, let's.
I mean, it's no Duke Nukem forever, but what are you going to do?
No game can be.
No game should be.
No, well, it can't be like that.
Was that an Xbox 360 game, Duke Nukem Forever? Yeah. That one I did not
It probably started development in the N64 era, though.
Yes, it's the Chinese democracy of first-person shooters.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Shane,
Chris.
How about yourself? As someone who looks like Axl Rose in the most negative of senses, sometimes I think when I look in the mirror.
Hey, you haven't hit that spot yet where all of the like 70s and 80s rockers eventually hit, where they all start to just look like somebody's grandmother. Like, have you seen Steven Tyler? Good Lord.
Oh, God. No, I mean, Steven Tyler, he's held up a little bit better than Axl Rose, let's be honest.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Axl Rose could have eaten Steven Tyler. Anyway,
age catches up with you.
Yeah. So what have I been playing? Well, besides this, which I am happy to say, and also sort of simultaneously, it's a little sad that this is an achievement for me as of late, but I actually completed the game du jour this time around. It may have something to do with the fact that it only took me about 11-ish hours, as opposed to some other games we've played this year that I won't talk about anymore. But I'm pretty happy with that. But besides that, though, I did want to point out, because it's really the only thing I have time for these days, but I came across a pretty neat little mobile title called He-Roll, which is like a combination of like a roguelike RPG and like Monopoly almost. Like it's a board, you're set up on a board that looks a lot like a Monopoly board, with like a big boss sitting in the middle of the board, and you have to like circumnavigate the board a certain number of times, and you like land on squares, and like we'll have battles or certain events will occur. You get like a claw machine to get like new gear or whatever, like a whole bunch of different things. It's pretty neat. Like I'm actually really enjoying it. So it's a cool little concept. So that's been kind of like filling in, those small bits of time that I have to play something. But besides that, though, and Chris can attest to this because I just played it on stream. Well, at the time of this recording yesterday, Legend of Grimrock 2, I think, officially has its claws sunk into me. I am hooked. It's pretty good. That's a little bit of a spoiler for a future guest spot, but it's pretty good. So that's pretty much been it for me.
So nothing here is going to be anything really outside of a show that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to be very, very brief.
Like you two, I played the game du jour. I did get it 100%. I did use a guide. I know a lot of people think that takes away gamer cred. I don't care. I love using guides. I support GameFAQs. Keep GameFAQs alive. Be a loser gamer like me. There you go. And then I beat the next game that we're going to be talking about for the main line on stream in Super Mario Brothers. And everyone watched me do that. So that's good. And so I've started playing the game after that, which is Fallout, the original one. Thank you, patrons, for that election. But the thing is the good news is that I'm finally starting to get ahead of the schedule. So there is hope that I actually might be able to play a game for myself in the future. I am hopeful. It may happen. I also have played some games on the Saturn, and by games I mean game, because that's another thing that is going to help when I get ahead of things. I played High Velocity Mountain Racing Challenge, which in Japan is called Toge King the Spirits. And if you haven't heard of that game, you're a normal person. But if you want to know how that game plays, it's essentially, if you've watched Initial D, you're playing Initial D, but not Initial D. So it's awesome. You can use a Nissan Skyline GTR. It's rad.
Cool.
It does sound pretty cool. I have no idea what that is.
It's like, I guess maybe I feel better that I'm evidently normal because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But it sounds neat, Chris. That's real cool. I'm happy for you.
Join Patreon, IO Saturnalia. I also have to take back, for the future stream references, on the stream recently I said support Patreon so I could buy all 6 Mega Man games. Don't worry about that now. You don't have to worry about that. I have to find another goal. Well, I hope so. I hope they come in and they're not like Temu copies. I drunk purchase some games. This is what happens when you get drunk, kids. You make purchases.
That's a good purchase, though.
I'll get into it if it comes in. We'll see. I'll disclose the deets. Speaking of deets, we're here to talk about a game and its details in our brief history, as we are wont to do. And that game is Metroid Other M. So, Shane, I don't know how I've come into my mind that you are the resident Metroid guy between the two of us, because I really don't think either of us are. But for the sake of today, that is you. So how about you give us the brief history of Metroid Other M?
I want to say I think that is probably because you've gone on record saying you don't like Super Metroid, so by default it makes me the one.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it
all
does.
right. Anyway.
Brief history. Begin.
Yep. Here we go. You know that feeling when things start to get a little stale and you just want to change it up? Well, that's kind of where Metroid was in the mid-2000s. Now, the Prime trilogy had definitely breathed new life into the series, but those were first-person games, a style that didn't really align with the vision of the original Japanese developers. Yoshio Sakamoto, the longtime director, wanted something different for the Wii. His goal was a game as easy to pick up as the original Metroid for the NES, but built as a fully 3D experience. There was just one problem. His team didn't really have much 3D development experience. So he looked for some outside help. That is where Team Ninja came in. They were excited to jump on board, and a second studio called D-Rockets Giggity signed on to handle the game's CG cutscenes. The big design challenge became this. Could you make a modern 3D action game while keeping the controls as simple as possible? Team Ninja liked that idea so much they decided to use just the Wii remote, no nunchuck. The thinking was fewer buttons, fewer barriers. Sakamoto was also determined to explore Samus as a character, something past games had not really done. He wanted to add depth to her story, showing her more human side, and place the game's events between Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion to fill in some of that timeline. That all came together as Metroid Other M. It was first revealed at E3 2009 as a darker, more cinematic take on the series, and a year later, a new demo at E3 2010 got very positive reactions. The game finally released in late August of 2010, and at first, critics were fairly up on it. Gameplay and visuals were praised, but the story and pacing got mixed reviews. Sales landed around 1.3 million units worldwide. Not terrible, but shy of Nintendo's expectations. Over time, though, Other M became one of the most polarizing entries in the franchise. Fans took issue with how it portrayed Samus, and that criticism has only grown louder with time. It's never been re-released on any other console, and the general feeling is that Nintendo would just as soon leave it buried. So, Other M is kind of stuck as this odd experiment, part bold reinvention, part misstep, that continues to divide Metroid fans to this very day. And that is your brief history of Metroid Other M.
All right, thank you, Shane. And a lot of people might be asking, why are we covering this game? We haven't covered Metroid 2. We haven't covered Super Metroid. Did we cover both Zero Mission and... I thought we covered Zero Mission, Fusion, or just Zero Mission?
Yeah, I think we've just done Zero Mission so far.
I think I did an RFR for Fusion. Anyway, we haven't done a lot of Metroid games. The real reason, just to be honest with you, it's a controversial game and it turns 15 years old.
Yep.
Happy birthday. And I like controversy. It's fun. Controversy is fun because people have something to say about it. But let's get into, it sounds from what I've heard briefly on the Retrotopia podcast. I have not listened to Sam's opinions on this game on the Retrotopia podcast because I wanted to come into this fresh. I have a feeling that this is going to be a really short section of what our personal experiences with Metroid Other M are. And I'll kick this one off by just saying, I knew it came out and I knew people didn't like it. And I bought a copy for like $5 or $10 because it was cheap. And that was a few years ago. And that's it. I think I liked more of the story around it rather than having any personal experiences with it whatsoever, because I'm not the biggest Metroid fan, which might contribute into my feelings with the plot story later. Maybe. Shane, what are your personal experiences here?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that I am irritated that I spent like 6 times as much as you did on this, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I got it on the eBays for like $30. Anyway, that also probably informs the rest of my personal experience, which is to say that there really isn't much of one. I guess technically I'm a bit more of a Metroid fan than Chris is. It's one of the games that I had for my NES back in the day, and I always really liked the idea of Metroid, but I could never get very far in it because that game was hard as shit, just like most other NES games. I've gone back to it as I've gotten older, and I've been able to actually complete the original Metroid, but not without the use of some save states. Like, I'm not even going to lie about that. And so it's always been like kind of a fixture in the back of my mind, I suppose, as far as like gaming goes. I mean, it is technically one of the tentpole franchises for Nintendo, even though it's sort of like their, ignored stepson or stepdaughter or whatever. But like, as far as Other M goes, I just heard about it. Like I had a Wii, but I never played this, mostly because of the mostly negative like feedback that I heard about it. I never really caught much of the critical reception, I guess, that we talked about in the brief history, because I really heard more just, the word on the street, such as it is. And that was generally skewing more towards the negative side of things. And it seems like a lot of it centered around the plot. But I guess I kind of just extrapolated that to be like, oh, Other M's just a trash game, so I guess I won't bother with it. And that's kind of where I sat for a very long time. And now we're talking about it. So
I think that feeling about the plot like started overlapping with the gameplay.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about whether or not I think that's fair, but I think it developed that way, rightly or wrongly. Sam,
I actually heard of it this year when you sent out the list, and and I signed up for it. I was like, well, I better get a copy. I have no idea what this is, but I was a Sega kid and didn't get into owning a Nintendo console until the 64. So obviously, Samus, as far as being a character on the 64, she was a Smash Brothers character as far as I was concerned. And I only played Super Metroid and the GBA Metroids, within the last few years. So I always associated Metroid on the Wii with what is it? The first person one that you just mentioned.
Prime.
Prime. Yep. I was like, I had Fusion on the brain and I knew that wasn't it. Prime. So I was like, I had no idea that they made a mainline Metroid for the Wii. So that's my history. I got a copy off of electronicbay.com and here we are.
So I just also want to point out that you saying the thing about Smash Brothers reminded me that I was sitting playing Other M and my 12-year-old walked in and he's like, oh, that's Metroid from Smash Brothers. And I felt my bones turn to dust. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, it's like the Benjamin Button gif where you just turn old immediately. Yeah.
Yep.
My kids do the same thing. Like they're big fans in Smash Brothers of Zero Suit Samus. So they play as her.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I am too.
Well, not for the same reasons, but yeah. So that they're girls, so they often play as like Zero Suit Samus or Peach or
Nice.
Okay.
So no, not for the same reasons, at least as far as I know.
Hey, So let's get into the plot, the story. I'm glad that our show is set up this way because I feel like we're going to get the elephant in the room right the fuck out of it immediately. We're going to be addressing it. We're going to be pointing our big fingers right at it and say, fuck you, elephant. But let me give the story that's in the manual for the audience right now. It starts off with the story so far. I had gone to planet SR388 to destroy the Metroids. After a deadly struggle, I managed to defeat the Queen Metroid, and I was preparing to return. A baby Metroid hatched before my eyes. As I was the first thing the baby saw, it took me to be its mother. I felt that studying the baby might produce some peaceful applications, so I took it back to the Galactic Federation. But that baby, Metroid, was attacked in the middle of an experiment and fell into the hands of the space pirates, who were led by Mother Brain. In the hopes of rescuing the baby, I infiltrated the stronghold controlled by Mother Brain on planet Zebes. But Mother's overwhelming power brought me to the brink of death. And then the strangest thing began to restore vigor to my spirit's light, which was so close to going out. Why am I still alive? The baby protected me from Mother Brain's attack. It gave me power. And then the baby was destroyed above my head. Mother, time to go. Mother Brain, the space pirates, and the Metroids were terminated along with the planet Zebes. I don't know how much time passed since then. I was traveling in my starship when I unexpectedly received a signal. Codename Baby's Cry. A common SOS with the urgency of a baby crying. The nickname comes from the fact that the purpose of the signal is to draw attention. The signal was coming from a remote part of space. I altered the course of my ship as if this detour had already been part of my flight plan. Baby's Cry. It was as though it was crying specifically for me. Samus Aran. Okay, that's our background. So
I really had to try
she
not
does
to laugh.
get No. It's deadly serious. Don't laugh.
I know.
No one's laughing.
Stupid.
No one's laughing. This is completely serial. She gets to this thing called the bottle ship, and she meets up with a bunch of mercenaries.
Oh my God, I just got that. Holy shit. Bottle because of baby. What the fuck? You know what? No, I'm out.
Baby?
I'm done. Dude, I was the whole time I was like, why the fuck did they call it a bottle ship? That's so weird. Oh my God.
The baby.
Yep.
The power of the babe.
Anyway, she meets a group of mercenaries, one of which just happens to be her father figure, Adam, who is introduced in Metroid Fusion. And this game takes place between Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion, sort of, I think. There's all sorts of plot holes, and I don't even care about Metroid lore, and I was just like, what the fuck? But yeah, they're there to see what's going on in the ship and figure shit out. That's your baseline background. Sam, I'm starting with you. Let's start with the plot. Let's do this. Initial thoughts. What are we thinking?
I mean, it's like it takes itself way too seriously, and then at the same time is also lazy. Like,
by the way, full spoilers. Spoil away. I don't care.
Yeah,
we're spoiling it.
I mean, it was even just hearing you read the synopsis out of the manual. Like, I remember feeling weirded out when you watch that opening cinematic, and she just keeps like, what is with this baby? Like, are we trying to like make some sort of statement here? Or like, why are we so focused on saying the word baby so often?
It's a metaphor for pregnancy.
I know. It's like, is this
other
gonna
M.
be some sort of weird? Ugh.
The other M is menopause.
Yeah, it's not like they're trying to like spell a word with other M that begins with M.
Oh yeah.
Oh
like
my
mother.
God!
You did it again.
That's so fucking stupid. Oh my!
I know. So
You just got that.
Wow. I was like, by the end of it, I was like, oh, other M. Okay, like the MB, like the AI. Right, got it.
Nope.
Okay, or other M could be mother brain. Like, sure, I'm sure that's what it means too. There's a lot of other M's. So, I mean, I guess it could mean a lot of things. Yeah, it's mother. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's mother. Yeah.
It's the Earthbound sequel we never asked for.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I like that we've now broken Shane twice on this story. I think that's kind of I mean, I don't have deep thoughts because I don't think that the story is worth deep thoughts. I just remember, anytime I'd get to a cutscene that was overlong or just Samus monologuing about this baby. Just takes itself way too seriously, and the metaphors are not deep.
No, they're not.
No.
Shane,
What?
you know what?
Oh
What'd
my
you think?
God. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's like there's heavy-handed, and then there's like lead gloves, and that's pretty much what this game feels like. I mean, it has its moments where it's fine. Like, I think at best I could say that the plot is like mediocre when it's at its peak. There really wasn't anything terribly surprising, and I feel like the dialogue just felt like, okay, here's one thing that actually really bothered me a lot. And I think I know why they're doing it, but it felt just really stilted. Like, anytime there was a voiceover from Samus, it was like she was reading her fucking diary. Like, it was worded in the weirdest, like, not a way a person talks way possible. And it just felt so awkward. And then every like emotional moment they were trying to make happen just falls flat because it doesn't feel like there are really any stakes. Like I never felt super invested in any of the characters at all. I mean, like Anthony's kind of cool. Anthony's cool, but like, I don't give a fuck about Adam. The guy is basically a wooden board like the entire time. Like there was never a point where I felt like there was a genuine like connection between Samus and Adam. Like they tried to make that happen with like the thumbs down thing, which made her just look like a petulant teenager, which maybe was accurate. But
she's
like,
rebellious, Shane.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. She just kind of makes a pouty mad face and puts a thumbs down, but she also still agrees with him. Like, are they trying to say that Samus has daddy issues? Like, I kind of feel like that's what they're going with, and it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what they're saying. I mean, it's like, I'm a rebel, but I'll follow your instructions to a T.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, they don't say it, right? Until almost the end of the game, where Samus just explicitly says that Adam was like a father to her. But up until that point, there's just a lot of not familial subtext going on.
Yeah. It's more sexual tension than anything. It's not, I mean, maybe she's the swap gender Oedipus syndrome. There could be that. But and like, can we also just, because I know this is something that Chris at least wants to point out, but like, can we please talk about how forced and stupid it is that and this kind of bleeds a little into gameplay, but that like Samus, the fucking like savior of the universe, badass space bounty hunter girl boss, has her entire arsenal from fucking step one and doesn't use shit until Adam is like, oh, hey, I saw that you were literally on fucking fire. Maybe you should use your Various suit. Like,
yes.
Oh, no. He doesn't say, I saw you literally on fire. He makes her walk through an entire fire section for about an hour. And then he's like, you know what? You seem kind of hot. You should probably turn that on.
Is it toasty in there?
It's the most contrived fucking, like, and I think I get what they were going with, because they're like, oh, we're trying to make this like more realistic, and like it would make no sense to have like power-ups just laying around this ship. So like we need like a real in-universe reason for why she wouldn't just use all her shit from the jump. But it's so contrived. Like it makes zero sense.
Yeah. So this is where I'm going to get in here, because I have a lot of issues with the plot, obviously. She's badass, independent mercenary. I won't even go like, oh, the super girl boss, whatever, rebellious chick, whatever. She's an independent mercenary.
Yep.
Who does things on her own and makes her own rules. And I've heard explanations like, oh, that used to be her CO. She has a lot of respect for him. And like, you know, he's running the mission and he doesn't like the fact that she's there, but he'll let her cooperate as long as she follows orders, blah, 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 blah. And there's some degree of believability there, but I think there's a couple things that don't make sense. One, Samus has every right to be skeptical and should be skeptical of the Galactic Federation at this point. Mm-hmm. If you follow any lore about Metroid.
Absolutely.
Like Galactic Federation is Wayland-Yutani and it's not even hidden. Like that's who they are. Like she should question them at every moment. And the fact that she just goes along 100% with the plan that Adam gives her is like, what? Like, this doesn't make sense. And I've heard like a criticism of it that this makes the game seem a little misogynist. And I'll actually go a little bit further. It's parody. This is what someone wants to write, like making fun of a feminist writing misogynist material. Like this, like, it's just like, there's a point where like you go in history and here's Adam giving orders to people and it's a sea of men And Samus is the obvious only one there that's a woman, and it just feels like everyone hates her, and she's like, thumbs down, look how spunky woman I am. It's like, it's satire.
Yeah.
This is not serious material. This isn't real. Isn't she also supposed to be like half bird woman? She's supposed to be like 7 feet tall.
Right.
Why is she a micro person?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
I mean,
Did I miss
clearly
something?
Adam is just like 9 feet tall.
They're all bird people.
It's a bird person. It is just a race of bird people. No, yeah, I forgot about that she is, and they established that in Fusion, right? That she's part, or is it even Super Metroid that she's part Chozo?
It's in the manga. It's like it dates back pretty, like it's not new material by this point. It's fairly established.
Right. Yeah, and I remember seeing or hearing that she's super tall too. Like she is a superhuman hybrid type person, and yeah, to see her doing the thumbs down like that when you mentioned that, it recalled that scene where I think even the soldiers were mostly uniformed and helmeted too, and she had, it's like shock of blonde hair, helmet off, like clearly other, if we want to use that word, and giving the thumbs down.
The other end.
So yeah, she's the other
Well,
end.
that's it. It identifies her as the rebellious one. She's wearing the hat and like the vest.
Yep. But she'll still
Like I
do
said,
everything that you say.
it's a parody.
Yeah.
It's a fucking parody of itself.
And it was hilarious. I actually laughed when she loses contact with Adam for quite a while, right? And at one point, I'm trying to remember which upgrade it was. I honestly don't remember now, but she gets to a point where she needs to use another upgrade, but Adam isn't there to fucking authorize it. And she still says, just to no one, to herself, she's like, I wonder if Adam would be okay with this. I'm like, bitch, it doesn't matter. Like, just fucking do it.
It never mattered.
I do have one more problem I want to get to, a big problem with, two other big problems I had with it, but I do want to address some criticisms that I feel like were unfairly levied. I think, like, no, is the plot delivery towards her emotions towards Adam is the best? Absolutely not. But I do understand the connection they're trying to establish there, especially with the material that was given in Metroid Fusion. Okay, I get it. Like, she has a lot of respect for him. I don't think, like, I think the whole entire, why would she listen to Adam? I think that kind of position is a little overstated, even though I just ripped the fuck out of it. I understand. But I think it's like the post-mortem criticism on that is a little overboard. Same with the whole entire, why is she like have PTSD around Ridley? I don't know, because she's killed Ridley. Ridley's supposed to be dead. This creature that has mutilated her parents, and you've never had any sort of exploratory voyage into how she feels about a murderous space pirate that she thought has perished, murdered viciously and violently, just coming back to life and screaming at her. Like, I think most people would be fucking frozen for a little bit.
Yeah,
I think so.
Space pirate honestly doesn't even do it justice. It's a big fucking like demon pterodactyl, for Christ's sake.
But pterodactyl. Yeah, I think like people being like, oh, why is she scared? I think that's reasonable.
Yeah,
I think that's a little reasonable.
Yeah.
It's at least a shock, right? Because if you thought something was dead and you see it again, especially if it's a fearsome creature, it's going to give you at least pause, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry they tried to make Samus human and didn't just make her Doom Guy clone. Okay?
Right.
Like,
hey,
what did she
I will
want?
not
Did she want
accept
Doom Guy?
any besmirchment of Doom Guy on this show. Thank you very much.
I don't think that's a besmirchment of Doom Guy. Maybe it is. But like, at least Doom Guy's not supposed to be human. That's the characteristic. If people say they like Samus for her personality, and like the fact of the matter is Samus's personality was never explored really until Fusion, I think. Maybe Zero Mission. So she didn't have a personality. This isn't really a betrayal of Samus's personality, because this game was like directed by the person who made the Metroid series. This is the vision that person always had for Samus. Like how he viewed her. So I'm not saying you have to, for better or worse. I'm not saying you have to like it, But what I'm saying is that like they tried to make her more human than just your standard first person shooter dude bro guy. I think like you can say you don't like that and that's fine. But I think if they're going to do that, like the whole entire Ridley thing is understandable. I think that's very understandable. Now 2 other complaints, if I can remember one of them. The first one I'm going to bring up. No, okay, I do remember both. Space pirates, they're supposed to be intelligent. Like they're supposed to have like communication. They're supposed to be smart creatures. They just scream like monsters. Ridley is supposed to be a very intelligent space pirate creature. And all it does is just screech like a crazy pterodactyl.
Okay, well, hold on, because there might be an explanation for that. Because I think if I recall, when you had that cutscene where Samus was talking to MB, MB was saying that, you know, they had to figure out a way to replicate Mother Brain's like telepathic link to like all of the creatures and shit or whatever. And so like they tried to recreate that, but then something basically got disrupted by the clone of Ridley. Like Ridley was the reason, or the clone rather, was the reason that like shit got all disrupted, and that threw all of the creatures like just into total chaos. So I'm not saying it's a good explanation, but I think there is one that's there.
Oh, while you're saying that, another word of praise for the plot, where there is praise to be given. I do think it's cool that the AI thing that the Metroids decided to follow modeled itself after Samus in order for the Metroids to view it as its mother. I thought that was cool.
Yes, and also I thought that that's where the plot was going to go, actually. Like, I thought that that cutscene was going to reveal when she was like, well, and they needed like some sort of mother figure and blah, blah, blah. I thought they were going to say that they replicated Samus, in which case I'd have been like, oh, other M makes total fucking sense.
Now that you mention it, that would be other S, right?
Listen, don't think too hard about it.
I kid.
Souther. Now it's a Fist of the North Star bad guy. But I actually thought it's cooler in the fact that the Metroids wouldn't gravitate towards anything. But remember, they used the DNA from the baby.
That's right.
So the baby thought that its mother was Samus. So it wasn't until the AI started making itself a human female and modeling itself after Samus that the Metroids started following her. Which is pretty cool.
True.
I thought that was pretty cool. The fact that the Metroids were freeze resistant and at no point they ever were was weird. Because you definitely were freezing Metroids.
Yeah.
Also just kind of a lack of Metroids in general. Like they're really only in a very short portion towards the end of the game, you know, before the credits.
Well, that's like the first Metroid was like that too.
I guess, but you know, then when you return to the ship, like they're not. I guess you've killed the thing, so why would they be there? But I don't know. It's like this. That's the name of the game. Where the thing that the game is named after. And I also just really quick going back. It's interesting that you say that the AI modeled itself after Samus. That's like a perfect, and they didn't do it. Just kind of segue into having like a dark Samus. But I guess that had already been done. It just
that would have been cool.
Would have been cool to see in 3D because Dark Samus is terrifying.
So this actually, the second point that I've complained about, like everything you said actually makes this worse. Because like I was wondering, this AI that wants to essentially eradicate humanity exists. Like this is what the AI, the big bad, the end of the game is an AI created by the bottle ship in order to control the Metroids, and it starts becoming genocidal. And which makes sense because Samus is genocidal. That's all she does. She exterminated the entire race of Metroids. She exterminated the entire race of space pirates. Samus is extremely genocidal. The only thing that separates her, well, she does get funding from the Galactic Federation, so you make your own parallel comparisons there. But like, so when she went out of her way to like feel all bad for this AI at the end of the game. It's like she should have no remorse for killing something that wants to kill everything else. Like, that shouldn't be a problem for her.
Yeah.
She exterminated entire races of species and not even had a second thought about it. Or at least it's been expressed. And she has no remorse for any of this in this game either. So it's not like that should be an issue. Now, where it could have been smart, and this is now why it pisses me off more, and I don't know what triggered this, is if she viewed Madeline Bergman as her mother, and she viewed the AI, Melissa Bergman, as her clone, and she identified with her. That could have been smart, but they tell the storytelling in this game. If you think like the baseline plot is fine, and I think like there's foundations, there's bits and pieces and everything. If you really want to stretch things out and put them together, you have a fine plot. But the storytelling is awful. There is nothing good about any of the storytelling or trying to get any of the plots or deeper meaning. And as Shane said, and I think you said too, Sam, there's no depth here.
No.
There is, but they don't try. Yeah. Like, it's just, you get it, right? Wink, wink. And everyone's like, no, actually, we don't.
Very telegraphed.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
The plot is horrible. It's very, very bad. I'm done, I think. So if you all want to tee off, please do with the plot. It's bad.
Yeah. I think the thing that pissed me off most about the plot, and it's like, for me, if I'm going into a Zelda or a Metroid, I'm not looking for, the plot should serve as nothing more than a vehicle to get you into the action that you're doing. So it's like, yeah, there's a loose story around Metroid. It just kind of makes it so that you're a bounty hunter and you can shoot stuff with your gun arm and collect abilities, and that's fun. I don't really think too hard about it, but this is something where it's like the game developers were like, we're going to make you think hard about this and make it deep. And it's like, well, no, you're not. You didn't. I don't care. Just tell me when I can use the screw attack.
Also, the ending,
mm-hmm.
Like you go back there to get Adam's helmet.
Yeah, that was... And you take your suit off. Why?
Boobs. That's why.
I know. I kind of realized it, but I was just also like, you've got this like super powered suit that is completely tricked out now that Adam allowed you to turn on all of your upgrades again, and you're going to take it off just so that you can run to escape.
It's what Adam would have wanted in Samus's mind.
Yeah, it's like hate to watch her go, but I love to watch her walk away.
Oh my god. Completely powerless, using none of her abilities.
Right, except the little zap gun.
Fucking hell.
That can open doors for some reason. They did the same
for some
thing.
reason.
Yeah, they did the same thing in Zero Mission, where it's like this gun does nothing but temporarily paralyze space pirates and open doors. Oh, awful. Just that it was all in kind of service to the plot just made it worse.
Don't think about it and pray to God you haven't played another Metroid game. And it's fine.
Yes.
I mean, for what it's worth, I do appreciate that there at least was an attempt to kind of flesh out Samus's character a bit more.
Yes.
Like I did like that. I just, like you said, Chris, the delivery just fell so very flat.
It fell somewhere. It definitely fell somewhere. Anyway, I think that's all we have to say for the plot. I hope that that was satisfactory. But let's get into the gameplay. Shane, I'm going to let you kick this one off.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to give too much away. I think this is going to be interesting. Shane, what do you think about the gameplay?
Right. So as I was saying with my personal history, I just assumed and lived with that as gospel truth for the last like 15 years that this game just sucks all around and it was going to be a bad experience. And so when we decided we were going to play it for the show, I was like, great. Can't wait to suffer through this shit. And also pay money for it because I had to buy it for my Wii U. And then
Thank you, patrons.
yeah, and then I started playing it, and then I continued playing it, and then I wanted to keep playing it, and then I found time to dedicate to playing it because like it's actually really good. I mean, I have some qualms about a few design decisions, but like by and large, if I just ignore the plot, it was a really enjoyable third-person action game. Like it's really well done. Like it feels good to play. The controls are super tight, very snappy. Unfortunately, there's some slowdown in some areas, but I guess I just blame the machine for that, really, because Nintendo traditionally has been very underpowered for a very long time. But outside of that, like, yeah, man, it genuinely surprised me with how much I just unironically enjoyed my time playing this game. Like it's one I wanted to go back to and keep playing, which doesn't always happen. So good stuff.
Interesting. Sam, what'd you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Shane. I think that the gameplay is the game's strong suit, and it really felt more like a traditional Metroid game than I thought it would. It is a bit linear, as far as, you know, it's divided into sectors, kind of like Metroid Fusion is, and they kind of tell you where you need to go. So, you know, on a scale of, you know, Super Metroid to Metroid Fusion, it tends more in that Metroid Fusion category, which is fine. I don't hate that, but yeah, I was skeptical because I was like, wow, a 3D game where you hold the Wiimote sideways and you don't use the nunchuck at all, it's going to be odd, isn't it? And yeah, the gameplay was pretty crisp as far as, you know, movement and jumping and everything. And I also really appreciated, this is something we mentioned, that when you're platforming, I think they either must have game tested this and added this in later, or maybe this was always the plan, but you could never run off the edge of something. Samus would stop at the edge because I think maybe they recognize that playing with basically an NES controller with a true 3D game is going to be a little bit difficult, and it was at times. Like the jumps didn't, when the perspective changed and you're trying to move, especially in the areas with platforming over, you know, like lava rocks and stuff like that, it didn't always work the greatest, but by and large it was a lot of fun. And I didn't mind the switch in perspective from third person to first person and using the Wiimote to kind of point at the TV. I did feel like an old person, you know, like when, I don't know about your experience with the Wii, but mine is mostly like playing with my parents, because the Wii really got a lot of middle-aged and older people into, you know, playing video games for, in a lot of cases,
bowling.
The first time. Yeah, bowling. You know, I like, how do I work this thing is kind of how I felt sometimes. But in general, I think that's the best they could have done with that. And they really maximized the technology to make a game that plays pretty well.
Yeah, going to echo a lot of things here, not prime echoes. I don't know how they made this work. I don't know what they did. It's, you hear that you have to play this game with just the Wiimote like an NES controller for the majority of the game. If I told you that, when people told me that, I'm like, no, this cannot work. This is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. You're going to make a 3D game on the Wii. From Nintendo, the company that pretty much made the manual on how to properly control a character with analog controls in 3D. And you're going to tell me you're going to put this on a D-pad, not just default, but mandatory. You have to play it like this. There's no other way in a 3D environment. And you're going to tell me this works. It works. It just works.
Mm-hmm.
The auto aim it has its problems, but for the most part, it succeeds. Combat makes sense. It's sometimes it's a little easy because you can dodge far more, commonly than you might think. Like, it's very easy to dodge enemy attacks. And once you learn how to do an automatic charge after that attack, there's a lot of instances where combat can feel rudimentary and just overly simplified, especially against some bosses, but not all bosses. Bosses are easy, but they're fun. Mm-hmm. Enemy combat can be easy, but it's fun. Navigating your way around the map is fun. This game is just fun. And I am a notorious Metroid hater. I had fun with this game. And I don't care if it's linear. I like linearity. I enjoy that. Oh no, the game is telling me where it wants me to go. Oh no, I can't figure it out by myself. I enjoy that. I appreciate that. It even lets you know where the secrets are. Not all of them are like exactly perfectly telegraphed. There's some thinking on there, and a lot of them are overly obtuse. But you can beat this game without getting 100% of the items easily.
Oh yeah,
you can do all sorts of things, and it's easy to like recharge your missiles. It's not easy to recharge your health though. If you're fighting in a boss fight, you're getting smacked around. Not having replenishable health from enemy kills kind of sucks too. But for the most part, it's just I had a joy just playing the game. And whenever there was long stretches without plot, I was thinking to myself, why do people hate this? Mm-hmm. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. And then the plot would kick in and be like, oh, right. But kind of kidding.
And then a wannabe Kojima cutscene comes in and reminds you.
Oh my God. But like the very final boss was fun. Like the extra boss, not the credit rolling final boss. That sucked. That was a bad boss.
That was terrible.
I did not enjoy.
Really, really bad.
No. It was not Queen Metroid, right? Metroid Queen, not Mother Brain. It was like a Metroid.
The Metroid Queen was fun enough. It wasn't a great fight, but it was fun enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, fighting MB, I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
it took me a long time to figure that out.
It's dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I died to that one at least a good like 3 or 4 times before I actually looked up because I was like, what the fuck am I not doing?
Me too. Mm-hmm. There's a couple things towards the end that really like if you're not aware of them, you're gonna have a bad time at the end because first of all, I also don't like it when a game will do like an extended cutscene and then throw you back into it suddenly for something. Like once I had beaten the boss and I was just kind of watching this cutscene, like I will put my controller next to me on the couch and just kick back and enjoy. And then all of a sudden it's like first person perspective again and there's shit everywhere.
Yes.
That is not fun.
Oh, the cutscene developers, they loved Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
There's some definitely Kojima inspired goings-ons here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was blatantly obvious. One thing that really irritated me and I really didn't like, and I do appreciate that there wasn't a lot of them, but there was enough of them to not make me happy, is the investigative first-person scenes.
Yes, those are so terrible.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Why? They're bad.
What did they call it? Pixel hunt or something like that? So.
Oh God. Yeah, pixel is a good word for it.
You can look over this whole thing and you have to, there was one particular one that was the first time I looked something up in the game. It's like, I am going to sit here for an hour trying to find whatever they think I need to look at. It's something way off in the distance. It's like a little pinprick, or it's like one drop of blood on the snow that's down next to this vehicle or something like that. It's like, how was I supposed, it doesn't look different enough for me to actually.
That was the one. That was the one that I actually had to look up when they're all standing around, looking at the body. And I'm like, I'm looking
Yeah.
at all of them because you can target all of them and they'll like kind
I
of
know.
gesture or look at you. And I'm like, okay, so am I supposed to like do something with one of them? Like, what the fuck? I spent way too long trying to figure that out.
I felt like a little kid where, it was like the big kids are having a huddle and I'm trying to like look at like, what are you guys looking at? What are you guys looking at? I wasn't supposed to look at that. I was supposed to look off to the side on the snow where there was like a drop of blood.
Also, the battle with Ridley, you could be like in a very bad position
Yes.
to find what you're supposed to be looking at.
Oh, that too.
Yeah, and Ridley's just dropping fire bombs on
Right.
you while you're just like derp derp.
Yeah.
I can't see anything. And it's just like, yeah, we're just gonna keep killing you until like you find this very specific placement that you can barely see in because everything is dark.
One aspect of the gameplay that was unnecessary.
Very unnecessary.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of like extrapolate a little bit on what you said earlier, Chris, because I kind of had the same feelings about the linearity.
Mm-hmm.
And this partially, I think, is a function of just age, if I'm being honest, because like there are times I just can't be fucked to like go and pixel hunt for hours for every little thing and backtrack all the way. And so one of the things that I thought was very well done from a game design perspective was that they were able to incorporate the Metroid style like progressive unlocking of new areas or secrets with your power-ups, but they actually minimized a lot of the unnecessary backtracking because most of the time you had a story reason and they directed you to that place to go where you're technically you are backtracking, like you're going back through a place you've already been in a sector you've already explored, but there is a plot reason for why you're doing it. And so you have the benefit of having that sort of like forward motion thanks to the narrative telling you to continue going in that way. But then now you're like, oh, right, now I have all these like things that I wasn't able to get before and now I can. So it like, I actually thought that was incredibly smart. Like they were able to still have that, that sort of backtracking aspect where you got to, go back to the things that you saw before that you couldn't get to, but you weren't going like way out of your way to do that. Now, there's still some cases where that happened, but at least in my experience, and I didn't 100% all the items, I got like 73%, but most of the backtracking was done as part of just the natural flow of the game, which I thought was great.
Yeah, and there's three different environments that are pretty stereotypical. You have your plant environment, like your eco-friendly environment. You have your ice world, of course, and you have your lava world. And of course you have your plain Jane kind of spaceship area.
Don't forget the ice world.
I said ice world.
I didn't hear ice world.
I said ice world. Anyway,
I heard plant world.
I did say plant world. I did definitely say plant world.
Okay.
But I mean the traversal in each of these areas is rather smart. Like if you go in and you want to explore, you can get to any area within those sectors relatively quickly. It's not like you have to spend an egregious amount of time trying to get to where you want to get, especially once you get the gravity suit and the screw attack. Mm-hmm. Like you can get around pretty easily. And it won't take you too long. It's not like it's irritation free. I'm sure someone's going to be like, well, I found it irritating and I'm happy for you. I understand. Not everything makes you happy and I'm happy, that's good. But like, I think it's not going to take an exorbitant amount of time to get to any specific point on any maps in any of these areas. I think they're very smartly designed. I actually think I think all of the areas are very well designed and they are very generous with save points.
Oh yeah.
Extremely generous with save points.
Yeah. I did appreciate that.
So, I mean, there's very little to knock in terms of actual, in my opinion, of course. I mean, people who love exploration and non-linearity are going to find a lot to not like about this game, and I can understand that. But I love the generosity of those save points. I think all of the sectors were very well designed, as Shane alluded to. I just think this is, in terms of game design, this is very smartly and streamlined design game that I definitely appreciated.
They spent all their smart on actually designing the gameplay and not on anything else. They had to. That's where all the effort
in
was.
A video,
which is good.
In a video game. Shocker. I know, right?
I'd rather hate the story than hate the gameplay. I'll say that.
Swapping to first person mode.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I've also seen a point of contention with. I had a problem with it at first, but then I adjusted my Wiimote sensitivity. I changed out the sensor bar. I had one of those like third-party wireless ones, and I went back to the first-party one. And after that, I had no issues. But what did you all think? Because I think it actually worked pretty well outside of maybe the worm boss fight.
Oh, is that the boss fight where those worms were like jumping out of the wall and you had to?
Yeah, I hated that.
Sometimes, it felt like the lock on would be a little funky, where I'm trying to lock on to a weak point and it would just ignore what I wanted to do and lock onto something else. So there was some frustration there, but generally, like I feel like I got used to it to the point where I was switching back and forth between first and third person modes pretty quickly. And I would actually almost hold it two hands to do. That's why I think I felt like I didn't know like how to play video games. Like I was some sort of, well, at this point now we're all approaching middle age, right? But flipping it, and then I would kind of hold it this way and use the buttons with my left hand, which is kind of weird. But I would always have like my other hand just kind of like close on deck to like switch back again. So it wasn't terrible. But yeah, there was definitely some quirkiness to it.
Did you hear that, ladies? Sam's Wiimote is a two-hander.
Yeah, that's right.
Shane.
Yeah, all right. So I don't love it. I will say that. But it's fine. I think my issues really stem from needing to use it in combat scenarios. That felt bad almost every time to me. I'm just going to be honest. Like, the having to awkwardly swap from holding the controller like an NES controller to then like flipping it around to point at the screen, almost invariably every time I would start like just pointing at the fucking ceiling or something because spinning around quickly to try to do something, the sensor bar is just like, where the fuck are you? And like it felt bad every single time. Now, was it a cool like idea? Yes. And for the exploratory pieces of the game, I liked it. I thought it was fine. It gives you a different perspective, and it's also an excuse to really show off the 3D environments they've built, because if you're in third person all the time, you have more or less fixed camera angles, and so you're not always going to see everything. So popping into first person, you get to really appreciate, the environments they've built out. It also opens up a lot of opportunities for very, three-dimensional puzzles, which it does, do. So I like that part of it. When you're not under the pressure of something about to wind up in 2 seconds and fucking clock you in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, they do add a little bit of slowdown when you first go into first person, which is nice, because if they didn't do that, it'd be horrendous. I'm kind of with you, Shane. I think I'm kind of with both of you, where I don't think it's flawless by any extent of the imagination. It is cool, but it's not cool to the point where I love it. But I also think that all things considered, it works better than it has any right to. Mm-hmm. Like I thought going into it, that gameplay element was going to be terrible. It was going to be shockingly awful. I didn't come away feeling that. I thought it was fine. I thought it wasn't too big of a distractor. I thought that it did what it wanted to do well. Not great. I think it did it well. To the point where it did not get in the way of me having fun with the game in terms of the gameplay.
So I had a thought about this too that I wanted to ask both of you about. I'm curious what your feelings are on it. So while I was playing this, and it's interesting to know from the brief history that this was intentional, that they were like, hey, you know, in our mind, simplicity means fewer buttons, fewer things to remember, which I get, but I couldn't help but feel through like the entirety of this game that it would have been a better experience if you had just used the nunchuck. Like if you use the nunchuck analog stick to move, and then you would just have the Wiimote ready to go, and you could just press like the B button or whatever to go into first person and lock in. I just feel like that would have been way more natural and would have felt better than what they did. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, because also that would introduce extra buttons, which is another issue that I have with it, which is that I feel like there should have been a dedicated dodge button, but I'll get to that in a second.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, at the very least, it would have been neat if they had, you could do it either way. You know, like some games now will have, you know, multiple control schemes, and maybe that would have been ahead of its time. I don't really think that developers, you know, 10, 15 years ago were thinking like, let's make multiple, you know, play styles, you know, make this accessible to multiple play styles. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you could have had the nunchuck for moving around, and then you're already kind of pointing at the screen with your Wiimote. You wouldn't have to flip it. I don't know. I mean, the way it is right now, the game is super unique. I haven't played anything like it. Would have kind of turned this into like a Mario Galaxy type deal, and maybe they just didn't want to do that because it had already been done. I don't know.
I think that if they added the nunchuck, I would have preferred it if they almost didn't have any first-person perspective. I think if you added the nunchuck, I think that the first-person perspective would be forced and mandatory, because I think just pointing it at the screen, you would run into... There's more potential issues there and gameplay recognition errors, potentially, than just having it go from, you know, horizontal to vertical. So I could see what they did. I think a lot of people would appreciate it if they had the nunchuck and didn't have any first-person perspective, or if they had the nunchuck and it was only first-person perspective. I think a lot of people would have preferred either of those to what we got. I think that would be a mistake, because I actually think that traversing the world in the third-person perspective as it is works well enough. I didn't really have a problem with it. But I can understand, like, there were times I was thinking, man, an analog control would be so much better right now. Like, if they had Pro Controller support, the Wii Pro Controller support, I think that would have been great. But then you lose the first-person perspective, which is something that they really wanted to do. But I think if they got away from that and they just did third-person the entire way with, like, a Pro Controller, I think that would have been a lot of fun, too.
Did the Pro Controller have a sort of, you know, laser eye pointy thing?
No.
Not at all, huh?
No. Because it was attached to the Wiimote via a dongle.
Oh, gotcha. That's another thing. I learned it was this year that I learned what a dongle was, or like that was the word for that little doohickey. And then also, I also learned that Metroid Other M was a game as of this year. So this has been a real interesting year for Sam.
Dongle's a really funny word because it just reminds me of penis. I don't know why.
It kind of makes me think of dingleberries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dingleberries, dongles.
Here's another food for thought. What if Shane, you were wondering how they would have done dodging with the nunchuck? What if it was the like wiggling it like you do for the
No.
That's what you would have gotten, Shane.
No,
yeah,
that's what you would have gotten.
No.
It would have been a
Absolutely
Mario
not.
Galaxy wiggle.
That would have
Shane would be
so
wiggling
bad.
to dodge. I would have. Give me the D-pad.
I think the game would have been unplayable at that point, especially if you're talking about like the post credits with the I don't even know what they're called. Their name starts with D something, but anyway, those assholes who just like constantly melee attack when you pop them out with your power bomb. There's no way the response time that you would need. No, that would never happen.
You be dodging like Pornhub. That'd be great.
Well, okay, so my thought, and here's the reason that I think that it would have benefited from a dedicated dodge button, is because I found myself eventually realizing that I could just cheese the system in the most like weird, awkward way possible, which is every time I got into an encounter, rather than trying to like run and strategically position myself and shoot and whatever, most times I would just be stutter stepping because that would just trigger the dodge.
You're right.
So like I would just do that constantly, and then you just dodge all the time, get an automatic like full charge shot and blast shit. And that was arguably the best way to encounter most things. And so to me, that kind of cheapened the experience a little bit because it just felt odd. So I kind of feel like if there had been a way, and with the simplicity they decided to go with, I don't think there was going to be a good way. But if there had been extra buttons, having a dedicated dodge button would have introduced an extra level of skill there that I think the game probably could have benefited from. But
I'll take your criticism if we're going to add an extra button, which you probably could have done with the B trigger, but that would have been an awkward press. But
yeah,
I'll raise it to say they could have made a block button instead of dodge with a parry. What do you think about that, Dark Souls fan?
What? Fuck off. I hate parrying. What are you talking about?
Oh, I don't like parrying.
That's why. No, parrying's terrible. That's why I decided I would never play Sekiro, and that's why I never finished Bloodborne, because when I played Dark Souls, you bet your ass I am like either dodge rolling or just blocking everything.
Yeah, Samus dodge rolls a lot. You just stutter step. It's the equivalent.
Yeah, it's awkward.
But,
it feels awkward.
No, I agree. You're right there. I agree. Let's get into something else I think that's going to be good, and that is the visual presentation. I'll kick this one off and say, good God, this game is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. This is a really good-looking game. Even kind of with the Wii U's kind of faded upscaling, like it's not as sharp as if you play this on like a Dolphin or emulator or something where you get really sharp textures. It still looks fantastic. This game's gorgeous. It's drop dead gorgeous. The environments are amazing, and I don't feel like they're trying to do too much with the environments either. They know exactly what they want to do, and they put them together so well. The character models, Samus's character model is just, it's perfect. It's like this is a visual spectacle. It's one of the best looking Wii games I have ever seen. It's a feast for the eyes. It's spectacular. Oh, and that even goes for the cutscenes, as cringe as they are. I mean, they're good cutscenes, but the star of the show is just the model and the environments and everything. It's a delight. Sam, what'd you think?
I was pleasantly surprised this way too, because I had the thought while I was watching the first few cutscenes where I was thinking, this game is 15 years old, and it, obviously if it were made today, it would look sharper and it would be, 60 FPS, whatever, 4K nonsense, but
120 FPS, Sam.
Oh, is that the new? I don't know.
60 frame per second is rookie numbers.
I play old games.
Not for consoles.
I don't play new games. Well, anyways, it just kind of struck me that we haven't really the leap between 2D and 3D, and then 3D of even 15, 20 years ago and now is, there's really not much more of a ceiling for us as far as games like this. I was like you said, I was very pleasantly surprised by how good this game looked.
I'm honestly really just going to echo everything you both said. I at the risk of sounding hyperbolic, I really thought that this did not look like a Wii game because it looks so good. Like some of the, like I said, some of the slowdown aside and some of the more busy areas, the visual fidelity for a Wii game, man, it really shows when something is, for the most part, first party. But yeah, I don't like, I was trying to find certain things that I could point out that would be like, but this wasn't great, like, oh, these textures were kind of shit, or like, they tried to hide it, but like, it didn't look too good. And I don't know, man, like, by and large, I mean, granted, the different environments are pretty rote at this point. It's like, oh, ice, fire, jungle, cool, great. But the way that they were presented, and since we're talking about overall presentation, I mean, Kojima ass kind of like ribbing aside, they did some really great things with the camera angles, not just in cutscenes, but like during gameplay. There were certain areas where, things would slow down and you would be forced to kind of do a slower walk, and there would be like very cinematic, like sort of cocked to the side, like angled shots that looked just fantastic. There was one I remember because it stood out to me so much, was like you go into the morph ball and then you go into this duct that ends up running around like almost the entire outside of the bottle ship. Yeah. And so as you're rolling along, you just get to see the space and like the outside of the ship. And it was just so it was such a great like cinematic moment. Like they really had, for everything they lacked in what you would expect from like a good piece of film as far as like plot and dialogue are concerned, I feel like they just fucking nailed it with like the cinematography.
Yes. I think the atmosphere, I mean, because the plot was so cheesy in many regards, the atmosphere is kind of already killed, but like they did a great job of establishing atmosphere through scenery.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Even though the scenery, like I'll say this in like, because I rewarded the graphics so much, like the actual environments in and of themselves aren't technically, I think, terribly impressive, but just the set pieces and how they're designed and how you navigate through the world. Like a lot of the environments are very samey. It doesn't feel like they're really trying to wow you with the attention to detail on like the pixel by pixel or polygon by polygon level. It's more of look at this environment and how it's structured. That's what was more impressive to me, because like a lot of these corridors, I feel were very repetitive in how they were designed and how they look. But you get to certain rooms and they would have their own identity, even though it felt like they used a lot of assets from another area. It's very, again, smartly designed. It doesn't try to do too much, I felt.
You know what was kind of crazy about the way that the environments were visually presented in some ways was that, and I don't know if this goes for all of it, it was really weird because it's like, obviously you can jump on parts of the plants or jump up on, outcroppings of ice or whatnot. But there were certain rooms where you had to go to a console and like deactivate, and you found out that the whole room, like the environment, was a hologram. And then you had to deactivate it to find out what was behind the hologram, to find a door, or there was like a glitchy hologram in the forest area where there's like a hole that you had to bomb and then roll through. That kind of stuff was really cool. Just the way that they made it look, like it was a simulation inside of the inside of the different environments. So for me, it was like, is it really ice or is this all just a simulation? Kind of weird, but I mean, it worked. It looked cool.
With that, let's get right into the audio presentation. And Sam, you can kick this one off. What'd you think sonically?
I mean, I thought the voice acting was tiresome. Especially when you would
That's the way to put it?
Yeah. Especially when you would get into a lot of the monologuing, like I didn't think the voice acting was particularly expressive, and I don't want to besmirch the fine people who probably provided the voices for all of the characters. It is a lot of script, very very script heavy with all the cutscenes and monologuing, and at least as far as music, I usually don't notice the music in a Metroid game, and that's okay. It's very atmospheric, and I mean, if you don't really notice any standout music, maybe it's done its job. I mean, the sound was fine. I just, like I said, I think some of the it's not Resident Evil bad, but it's also not very well coached or expressive voice acting. So it's fine. It served its purpose.
Yeah. I mean, there doesn't really need to be much more, I think, said about the voice acting. I mean, it's there. It's not awful. It's fine. I mean, I maybe to a certain extent, you got to kind of blame the material that the voice actors were given, because sometimes even the best actors cannot make a shit script work. So, you know, it is what it is. As far as like the sound design and the music go, I mean, everything is on point, man. And I know it's like it's a fucking member berry, right? Or whatever. But like, I loved the callbacks to like the original Metroid themes that they sort of like interwove throughout the soundtrack of this game. Like those little sprinkles that were in there where you're just like, oh yeah, I recognize that, like that. And they did it, I think, really well. Like it still fit with, you know, what they were trying to do. So it wasn't like really, you know, starkly different or jarring or anything. But it was nice. Like, and if you don't have that sort of, I guess, nostalgia or something for the previous Metroid titles, then that's not going to mean jack shit to you because you wouldn't recognize it anyway. But for those of you that have, it is a very nice callback. So yeah, no, I thought they did a pretty great job.
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what you all said. Just repeating it. Voice acting, I think you both said it. To me, it sounds a little phoned in. That could be on the direction and the fact that I think the script is bad. If you have a bad story and a bad script, not much you can do to save it, right? But overall, the sound, I think, was really good. The atmosphere was good. The member berries were good in terms of the soundtracks that were there. If you know you're a big fan of Metroid or just a casual fan of Metroid, that they had great recreations. This was definitely a game that, in many ways, you could tell this was something that they really wanted to work. And I think the soundtrack and those homages that they have to the other parts of the series express that. The atmospheric, I mean, Metroid has never been known for its catchy tunes. It's kind of like saying, oh, I don't listen to Silent Hill's music in my car. Obviously, that means it's a bad soundtrack.
I've done that before.
Well, I mean,
not that jam at the end.
That fits.
The credits song is pretty good, right?
Hell yeah.
Right. But it fits the environment properly. That's what Metroid has always been about, and Other M does that very well too. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a standout example of how to do it, but it's not something I would say that it isn't. I think it does it exceedingly to what it's trying to accomplish, and that is praise. I'm giving it praise there, 100%. I'm not taking anything away from it. So yeah, audibly, sonically, whatever you want to call it, it's good, with the exception we already mentioned, which is the voices.
Yeah, there's only so many times you can say the baby without getting bored of it.
The baby. No, even every time she said that, it was cringe, man.
Yeah, it was like,
the baby.
Oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard after a while.
The baby. Now I understand. What's that YouTube channel where they like do speed runs of the games in a very comic form? I don't know. I should know this.
I don't know.
Oh.
If you remember, let me know. That sounds like fun to watch.
Yeah, like they do a speed, like there's a Metroid one, and I remember I kept on asking myself, why does she keep saying the baby? Like, I don't get it. Now I do. So there's that. Yeah.
To be fair, I still kind of don't, but well, whatever.
Okay. It was the video I understood.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Now it's time to get into our patron pontifications. And boy, howdy, do we have some pontifications for you all, because we're not a big enough show where we can start cutting them. So if you want us to start cutting these pontifications, you're going to have to join the Patreon. You're going to have to share your opinions. Then we can start getting rid of some of them. And how do you do that? Join our Patreon, obviously, and head over to the Discord in our Patron Pontifications channel, or you can just do it on Patreon, because I post it there all the time, and no one ever posts there, like this episode. But I will kick this one off with Lucas from the Game Over Hell YouTube channel. And Lucas says, I wasn't able to play this for longer than 30 minutes. It didn't seem bad, but playing a 3D action game with only a Wii remote is a huge turnoff for me. Once Adam authorizes it, I'll play the rest of the game. Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah, well, he's dead, so there you go.
He is dead. By the way, I didn't think Adam's sacrifice was that cringe. I thought it was a good scene.
Yeah, it was fine.
Didn't make a lot of sense in the big scheme of things, but...
Yeah. So next up, we have the one and only Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon, from the Fun and Games and Reignite podcasts. And also just joined us on our Castle Crashers episode. And I totally went almost full Sean Connery there for a second. And Matt says... I should scream this because it's in all caps, but I'm not going to do that. This game is a character assassination of Samus Aran. It is the worst. Thank you, Matt.
Agree to disagree, but I respect your opinion, Matt. Matt is a huge Metroid fan, for what it's worth.
This comes from Alt. You guys got some girthy comments. I was reading ahead a little bit.
We do.
Yeah, this is good. There's a lot of passion for this game. So Alt says, well, this and Federation Fuck Force basically killed the series for a good chunk of time. It added unnecessary story and made Samus feel weak and stereotyped. I hate it. The game did some weird 2D to 3D thing with the arm cannon, if I recall, with motion controls. I don't know. I didn't play it because the Wii era was when I fell out of love with Nintendo consoles and in love with the portables. Justice for Metroid and Samus. I don't particularly care for Metroid Samus Returns or Dread, but they're miles and leagues ahead of this clusterfuck of a game, and I hope Prime 4 is God tier. She deserves it. Well put.
With spicy comments going on here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alt. Next is from Randall, our resident PC shill. And Randall says, Metroid Other M, more like another idiot thinking they need to reinvent the wheel being Samus. I don't have any idea why they gave her an Electrocomplex or whatever the fuck you call that writing. What is Electrocomplex? Anyway. Also, I have better lock-on targeting when I'm in the bathroom messing with my Wiimote when I need to take a piss in the dark. Thank you, Randall.
I believe the Electrocomplex might be like the female version of the Oedipus complex, because Electra, I believe, is one of the characters in that series of plays.
Is that a Daredevil thing?
No. It's
Nope.
It's a Greek tragedy type thing. There's a character in the is that Sophocles? Yeah,
I think so.
There's a character.
Socrates?
Yep. Socrates.
Good old Socrates.
Yeah.
All right. That's like would you rather pronounce Aristotle like Chipotle or Chipotle like Aristotle? Think about that one for a second. All right. So next up we have Lethco from the Afterglow podcast, who says, a terrible story and a weak game. Just pretend it never happened and go back and play Metroid Zero Mission, Super Metroid, and Metroid Fusion again. You'll be happier and get a better story. Thank you, Lethco.
I'll take this one.
I was going to say,
we're going to set up Sam with the fucking novel here.
Yeah, this is actually you can give you can give this one a secondary guest credit on the episode.
Jesus. Okay. Next is from Soha. We love you, Soha. Brazil mentioned. And Soha says, this is the only game I can't play at the moment, unless I emulate it. A couple years ago, I played through every single mainline Metroid game, except Other M, because I refused to emulate it. Since I own it, but my Wii is broken and my Wii U isn't hacked, so it won't play my copy, which is from the EU. So forgive me if I don't remember much of how the gameplay is, but I've watched the supercut on YouTube to refresh my memory. The story isn't really bad. They tried a cinematic approach to a series that didn't really have that before it, and it backfired some. but saying it's horrible is being too dramatic. Samus not using her abilities when she has all of them is stupid. Yeah, and it's justified, not to full extent, as there is no reason for her to not be using the Varia and Gravity suit from the start, but all of her offensive upgrades have reasons not to be used so as not to put possible survivors and the rescue team in jeopardy. Samus freezing in front of Ridley makes no sense. She already fought him multiple times before. It's a PTSD episode. The same thing happened in the manga. Sure, she got over it then, but she never addressed it further, and this time, now, she already thought that Ridley was gone for good. So him returning is quite shocking. Then again, the older games were very light on narrative anyway, so it's not surprising that something like this would seem off. The only reason people think of Samus as this sort of badass is because she goes in mission solo and blows stuff up. But most Metroid games, including Prime Trilogy, are so light on narrative that there's very little characterization done directly on Samus that isn't from the enemy's perspective being absolutely terrorized of her and what she can do. Yeah, she's powerful. They're scared. Either way, it's not a great story either. Kind of generic and something we've seen from the series twice by the time this game had come out? Galactic Federation trying to mass produce Metroids again? Come on, man. It fucking pisses me off that people got so up in arms against this game when Sakamoto has been wanting to give a deeper backstory to Samus since Zero Mission, of which he references tied directly to the manga. But everyone would rather hold on to this perception of her that they had from when they played Super Metroid 30 years ago. Now that Dread has come out and pretty much just redone how she's characterized in cutscenes, which, don't get me wrong, I think they did a good job, this, let's say, more down-to-earth Samus is essentially gone forever. I hope you're all happy. Sorry for the rant, I just wanted to address the tourists. Oh yeah, also, I like the gameplay. Would be nice to see something like this in Metroid again. Never had a problem with the first-person missile mode, but I wouldn't mind if it was gone either. The dodging kind of trivializes the combat. It auto-charges your charge shot, so it's kind of an easy game too. Again, fuck the tourists. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Soha.
You know, that is a well thought out comment, but I was very fixated on the fact that Soha's Wii U is not from the EU, so you cannot play this game.
Wow.
All right, this comes from Omi, who says, the game is weak in so many ways, but my least favorite part was actually the part where during story cutscenes, they'll ask you to find something in the environment in first person. One of those basically made me want to quit playing the game. I bought the game for $10, so I can't complain too much, I guess. Ugh, yeah,
Thank you, Omi.
the pixel hunt. Ugh.
All right. We've got another beefy behemoth of a pontification here. And this one comes from Alan Bingham, who says, hot take incoming. I actually enjoyed this game a lot, and I don't think it's nearly as bad as everyone thinks it is. Granted, I am a Metroid simp, evidenced by my love of OG Metroid on the NES, in spite of that game being an objective dumpster fire. Look, I love the Metroid series, and I've beaten every entry that doesn't have the words Prime or Pinball in the title. I am biased, and a lot more forgiving in my Metroid-based opinions. With that said, I do realize that Metroid Other M is far from perfect. Personally, I thought the gameplay was fun, action-wise. It would have been nice if they've added a Wii Nunchuck, thank you, or Pro Controller support. However, the creative manner in which they utilized the restrictions of the Wii Remote was pretty engaging. The first-person mode for missiles was a bit wonky, but I got used to it. I think my biggest gameplay complaints are the deviation from classic Metroid exploration formula and the fact that this isn't a true third-person title because it lacks the camera freedom. I would absolutely love to see a true third-person Metroid game in the future. As for the story and Samus's characterization, I don't think it's anywhere close to being a terrible story or character assassination. I've always hated the concept of a silent protagonist, and Samus had been 95% silent prior to this game. Other M not only gave me insight into Samus's backstory, it also gave me more insight into her character. I'm actually okay with her showing respect and a bit of reverence to her former CO, Adam. I'm also okay with her actually showing real human emotion. In previous titles, other than Fusion, she basically had the personality of a genocide-committing potato. This title showed more depth. Now, with that said, the voice acting direction was bad. Additionally, Samus's PTSD towards Ridley made zero sense at this point in her development. Who knows? Maybe I just like bad games. I still don't think this one classifies as such, though. All right. Thank you, Alan.
I feel like I have a lot of similar feelings to Alan here. Not 100%, but very close. All right. Last and certainly not least is Sega Boy 7, who says the biggest issues with Metroid Other M is the story voice acting, and it's on the Wii. Other than that, it's a serviceable game. All right. Thank you, Sega Boy 7. Right now it's time to give our opinions on whether or not we think this game holds up today, as tradition dictates and as we are wont to do. Myself and Shane will go first, and we will give our guest the final word on whether or not this game holds up today. Shane, because I guess now I have deemed you as the resident Metroid fan on the Retro Hangover podcast, I will say that you should go first here and let us know whether or not you think this game holds up today.
I went into it, as I said, expecting this to be a complete travesty, and it's not. It really isn't. Like, I mean, it's cool to hate on it, I guess, but like, it's actually a really well-made game. Like, there are some wonky shit things that happen with like the transition between holding the controller one way and then doing it another way and trying to point at the sensor bar, but you do get used to it. That is true over the course of the game. And I got pretty adept with it by the time I was wrapping things up. So it didn't feel as awkward anymore as I thought it would. I do still hold to my belief that I think this game would have been better served with a nunchuck and implementing it that way. But, it is what it is. All of that aside, though, yeah, the story is not good. It really isn't. But again, we're not always going into video games for the story. This isn't a defense of a bad story at all. I'm just saying that video games are an interactive medium. If all you care about is the story, then you could watch a movie. I'm okay with dealing with a poorly written story if I'm playing a game that is fun. And at the end of the day, Other M is fun. Like, I enjoyed all 11 and some odd hours that I put into playing it from start to finish. So yeah, I think it holds up. I mean, it's a little difficult to play because you got to have a Wii or a Wii U to actually play it, unless you're going to figure out a way to emulate this. But if you can play it, yeah, I mean, there are definitely worse ways to spend 10 some odd hours of your time, for sure.
I am also going to say that this is a fun game and it holds up. Look, if you're a Metroid fan, you are probably going to find a lot of things to be pissed off about here because the story is terrible. If you're not a Metroid fan, if you have never played a Metroid game before and you just want to have a good time, walk into this just thinking like you're going to play The Room with fantastic gameplay. You're going to be playing some B-movie schlop. That's what this is. This is straight B-movie garbage in terms of its plot, its narrative, and its development. That's what this is. But when you get away from that, and to be honest, there isn't a whole ton of that. Yes, their cutscenes when they are there are fairly long, but I don't think they're necessarily too intrusive. They're relatively telegraphed, and you get past them relatively quick. There are long stretches of the game where you don't have any cutscenes, and that's when this game really shines. It's a fun time. I found myself having a blast with it. I really enjoyed navigating around the map, finding the items, enemy combat. I found it rewarding. It's not too difficult. It's not too long. And it's just, it scratched an itch I didn't know I had. So I will definitely say that while it's not like a Game of the Year contender for me by any stretch of the imagination, it is a game that I definitely consider one to be good and one that I will have fond memories of and fond considerations of. So yes, Metroid Other M holds up today, in my opinion.
Awesome.
Sam.
Awesome. All right. No pressure here, right?
No, not at all.
I was trying to prepare myself for this inevitable question when I was thinking about, being on the show these last couple weeks. And I think my answer is no, it doesn't hold up, but that's only because it's locked away on the Wii and uses a game mechanic that now at this point is a little bit dated. But like both of you, I was very pleasantly surprised by the gameplay and had a lot of fun with it. So in my personal opinion, yes, absolutely it holds up. The story is cringy and not great, but like you said, it's a B movie that if you can just kind of suffer through the parts of the game that you don't enjoy, there's plenty there to enjoy. As far as the boss fights were for the most part fantastic. The traversing the environments was cool. Even some of the point and shoot mechanics were okay at times. But yeah, it's just a shame that this is just kind of locked away. And I'm hoping maybe someday either Nintendo figures out a way or kind of comes to their senses and makes some more of these niche like Wii and I think like DS and 3DS type games that are very much tied to the hardware that they were on. I hope they make these games available in the future for people to play further down the line, because the more time, the more distance we put between when this was released and the current day, the less people are going to be aware of it, just like me not knowing what this game was until this year. So yeah, I guess the long roundabout way to my answer is personally I do believe it holds up. It was a lot of fun. But I just don't think that there's going to be a lot of people that have access to it today. But if you've got a Wii or a Wii U lying around, I mean, snap up a copy for $10. It's worth it.
All right. So there you go. I would say we have 2.5 holds up today.
Yeah.
2.5.
2.5 is fair. Yeah.
2.5, almost 2 3/4, almost. But thank you so much, Sam, for being on the episode. By the way, if you're listening to this, go check out Retrotopia's review of this episode, where Sam is from. A fantastic show. Good with all three of all those people on that show: Sam, Brian, and Alan. And Brian's going to be here next week to talk about Super Mario Brothers. But Sam, how about you hype the show up? Let them know where they can let the good listener know where they can find the Retrotopia podcast and where you all are and what you do.
Yeah, we're on everything. Much like our friends here at Retro Hangover, we have a link tree. So if you just change the part that's after the slash, link tree /Retrotopia, there's links to all of our stuff, and we have a Patreon. We have almost 100 episodes of the mainline show now, and some Patreon exclusive shows out there as well. So come check us out. We're on everything. We're pretty easy to find now at this point. So, and we also have a Discord if you'd like to join. That's free. Hope I didn't forget anything. But we actually also did another M episode also this year. So if you want to hear, I actually got a little bit angrier because it was more recent in my, I think I stayed up until 3 a.m. the night before to finish it, and parts of the end really pissed me off. So I kind of teed off on it a little more than I did here. I will mention that getting the upgraded bomb only after going into the final boss's stomach, and then they don't tell you that you got the bomb, that really bothered me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There are a few things where it's like, you've been telling me that I have this permission to use this power all game, and now you don't. I totally forgot. Maybe that was maybe I had some sort of memory, purposeful memory loss on that, because I forgot how much that pissed me off. But if you want to hear a full, I go on a full rant on Retrotopia about that section. I got really pissed off about that. But anyways,
there's a few parts in the end sequence that weren't the best, to be truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
What, you mean you don't want to fight Space Cthulhu to rescue a helmet?
Yeah. I mean,
That's before then.
Before then, the going into it was Queen Metroid. I keep forgetting it's not
Queen Metroid.
Queen
No,
Metroid.
no. I know. No, I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like you're talking about the end sequence. There's
too.
Also that.
Yes, there's also that.
Oh, the other end sequence.
The other end.
Yeah, the other end.
Yeah.
It stands why would you take
other? Yeah, why would you take your powerful Samus suit off to? Anyways, yes.
Yeah, and also I was hoping that the Queen Metroid was Kraid.
I like
yes.
Kraid. Yeah,
I thought it was going to be Kraid, and then I was really disappointed.
Yeah, I like those. I like those
like
belly button spikes.
God, absolutely. Maybe in Metroid Other M2, we can get Kraid.
I hope they make it.
The other M.
Other M. The Return of Adam.
Baby, the other. We'd really have a field day with babies. It'd be eating babies and other M2.
Yeah.
Oh,
Other M2.
Right.
Hey, baby.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna stop this right now. This is it's going too far off the rails. I feel like if we keep doing this, we're just gonna keep talking more about things what we missed. And you know what? The episode's over.
Yeah, that's true.
Died.
Yeah,
we did it.
we might start telling dead baby jokes.
Oh God, yeah. Let's go back to middle school.
Oh no.
Fuck yeah, dude. Let's do that. Anyway, so if you've made it this far and haven't completely tuned out, congratulations. And we hope you enjoyed your stay. If this is your first time with the Retro Hangover podcast, then welcome. And if you didn't happen to notice from the feed, there sure is a lot of content for you to explore. So much. We are now closing in on 400 releases to our main feed, which is bananas. And it's all there for you. Now, if you want to go that far back, by the way, I would recommend going directly to the podcast RSS feed from our official site, because if you go through places like Apple or things like that, you're limited to only the most recent 300 episodes. So, just keep that in mind. But all of our stuff, much like Retrotopia, is at our link tree because we are the olds, evidently. And that is, in case you didn't catch it the first time around, linktr.ee/Retro Hangover. So there you go. The things, they're there for you. And Chris, what would you like to tell the fine people at home, if anything at all? I mean, you might not have anything.
Not really. Just go check out our Twitch channel. Oh, I do. Go check out when I stream with Mike the Ref on Wednesdays. We do my GM mode of WWE 2K25. It's a good time. He's over on Twitch at Mike the Ref. And I'm over there and I'm talking. So I guess I stream twice on Sunday and Wednesday. Kind of, but I just do it through Mike on Wednesday. He hosts that. So that's fun. I don't have to do that. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Well, there you have it. And I suppose, with all of that now having been said, Adam has authorized us to shut down this episode. So until next time.
What's all blue and can't breathe? A dead baby Metroid joystick.
Shane here with a quick message. The one rule Chris and I have always gone by regarding advertisements is this. It has to be something we use and can personally vouch for. If you know me, you know I love coffee. And Bones Coffee Company has been my go-to for home brewing for quite some time now. Their small batch beans come in an impressive variety of flavors like Mint Invaders from Chocolate Space, or Electric Unicorn, which I swear tastes exactly like Fruity Pebbles. And the best part? No added sugar or calories involved, just natural flavors infused right into the beans themselves. Build your own sample pack of 5 4-ounce bags to find out which flavors speak to you, or jump in head first with full 12-ounce bags. They've even got K-Cups. Step up your homebrew game with Bones Coffee by visiting bit.ly/RHPBones. That's bit.ly/RHPBONES.